Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. You ever notice how a woman gets quiet right when things start to feel serious? That's not distance, that's fear dressed like calm. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the moment she silently decides whether you're temporary or home. So before we go any further, subscribe and like this video, because what you're about to hear might be the difference between losing her slowly or becoming the man she trusts with her future. I need you to understand something most men never get. When a woman shares a fear, she's not being dramatic, she's being brave. Fear is the most expensive emotion she owns. She doesn't show it to men she just dates. She shows it to the man she is testing for permanence. When she says she's scared of being left, she's not asking for reassurance like a child. She's watching how safe you make vulnerability feel. When she admits she's afraid of wasting years, she's not pressuring you. She's measuring whether you see time as something to invest or something to escape. Here's what hits deeper. Women don't fear being alone the way you think. They fear being emotionally alone next to someone who says he cares. That kind of loneliness breaks trust at the root. So when she talks about her fears, she's not dumping emotions on you. She's offering you the blueprint to love her correctly. Most men fail here because they try to solve feelings instead of holding them. But the man she stays with is the one who listens without shrinking, who stays steady when emotions rise, who treats her fears like something sacred, not inconvenient. Because the truth is, a woman only risks revealing her fears when she is imagining you in her future. And if you dismiss that, you don't just lose a moment, you lose the version of her that was ready to build with you. Silence from her after that isn't mystery, it's self-protection. And by the time you realize she stopped sharing, she already started detaching. Pay attention to fear. It's not weakness, it's an invitation. Now breathe for a second, because what you're learning tonight could change how every woman sees you from this moment on. Don't waste it. Choose them carefully, because the right response builds safety, and safety is where love decides to stay for good. When she tells you she's afraid of being too much, stop right there. That sentence alone tells you she has been made to feel like her emotions were a burden before. That didn't come from nowhere. That came from someone who slowly trained her to shrink, to lower her voice, to need less, to feel guilty for feeling deeply. So when she says that to you, she isn't just sharing an insecurity, she's revealing emotional scar tissue. And this is where men unknowingly decide their future with her. If you joke, minimize, or say you're overthinking, you confirm her worst belief, that her inner world is unsafe with you. But if you stay grounded, if you let her speak without rushing her to be chill, something powerful happens. Her nervous system relaxes, her guard drops. She starts associating you with emotional safety, and that is the foundation of long-term attachment. Attraction gets her interested. Safety makes her stay. You have to understand, a woman who fears being too much is actually a woman who loves hard, thinks deeply, and bonds strongly. That's not a problem to fix. That's a partner with emotional depth. But she will only offer that depth fully to a man who doesn't flinch when feelings get real. Here's the part most men never see. When she watches your reaction to her fears, she is imagining future scenarios. If I cry in front of him after a hard day, will he stay patient? If life gets heavy, will he withdraw? She's not thinking about next weekend. She's scanning for long-term emotional survival. And if she feels judged, even subtly, she doesn't argue, she adapts. She becomes easier, quieter, less expressive. Men think things are smooth. They don't realize she has started giving them a smaller version of herself. That smaller version never builds a future. It just slowly fades. But when you respond with steadiness instead of discomfort, you send a message deeper than words. You don't have to shrink here. That sentence, even unspoken, makes her lean toward you emotionally. It makes her picture you in hard seasons, not just fun moments. And that's when she begins shifting you in her mind, from someone she's dating to someone she could build a life with. Not because you impressed her, because you made her feel safe to exist fully. When she admits she's afraid of choosing the wrong man, listen carefully. That fear is never random. It's history speaking. It means she has loved before with hope, and it cost her something: time, trust, innocence, maybe even her sense of self. So when she says this to you, she's not comparing you to other men out loud. She's measuring you against her past pain silently. And here's what most men misunderstand. She's not asking you to prove you're perfect. She's watching whether you're consistent. Grand gestures don't calm this fear. Stability does. Anyone can be charming for a month. Anyone can say the right words when emotions are high. But the fear of choosing wrong is quiet, logical, patient. It studies patterns. Do your actions match your tone? Do you disappear when things get emotionally heavy? Do you change energy when you're stressed? She notices all of it, because women who fear choosing wrong are no longer dating for excitement. They're dating for emotional reliability. If she talks about this fear, it means she's evaluating you for long-term placement in her life. Casual connections don't get that conversation. Temporary men don't hear about permanent worries. And here's where emotional intelligence becomes attraction. If you get defensive, "I'm not those other guys," you make it about your ego. But if you say calmly, "I understand why you'd feel that way," you show emotional maturity. You show you're not competing with ghosts. You're building something new. That response lowers her guard more than compliments ever could. Because deep down, she doesn't want promises. She wants predictability. She wants to know that the version of you she sees now is the version that will still be there when life isn't exciting. When stress hits, when moods shift, when routine replaces novelty. If she feels emotional steadiness from you, something shifts internally. Her fear of choosing wrong starts being replaced with cautious hope, and hope, when it grows in a woman, makes her invest deeply. But if she senses emotional instability, even in small ways, she doesn't argue. She emotionally steps back while still smiling. Men mistake that smile for comfort. It's actually quiet detachment beginning. A woman who talks about choosing wrong is standing at a crossroad with you. Consistency moves her toward you. Unpredictability moves her away. And the direction she chooses will shape whether you're part of her future or just a lesson she learned from. Here's the psychology you need to grasp. When she fears losing herself, she's measuring your willingness to embrace her as a whole person. Strengths, flaws, ambitions, and insecurities. She's weighing whether being with you will amplify her life or slowly erode her identity. Most men fail here because they confuse intimacy with control. They think closeness means molding her to their vision instead of celebrating her essence. That's the exact opposite of what keeps her around. The right response is subtle but powerful. A quiet, steady acknowledgement that her fears are valid and that she doesn't need to compromise who she is to be loved builds trust deeper than any romantic line. When you show her that she can be fully herself with you, without losing her freedom, something shifts in her. She begins imagining shared experiences, a life together where neither of you sacrifices your true self. But here's the kicker. If you fail, if you ignore this fear, she doesn't argue. She withdraws slowly, compartmentalizing her feelings, protecting herself from potential loss. The version of her that shared vulnerabilities with you quietly retreats. You may think nothing changed, but everything did. Recognize this fear as an invitation, not just for intimacy, but for leadership in emotional safety. Respond wisely, and she will start seeing you not just as a boyfriend, but as a man who could walk beside her in a full, committed life. That's the moment you move from fleeting attraction to irreplaceable presence. When she admits she's afraid of making the wrong sacrifices, you need to listen with precision. This fear is about timing, life priorities, and trust in the man she invests in. She isn't talking about trivial decisions. She's quietly weighing whether giving her time, energy, and love to you is safe. She's asking herself, if I commit, will it honor my life, my dreams, my sense of self? This is one of the most overlooked signals of deep interest. Casual men never hear it. A woman who shares this fear is imagining you in her future, and she's secretly asking herself if you deserve that. When she brings it up, she's inviting you into her thought process. She's testing your ability to handle serious conversations without defensiveness or panic. Notice the difference between men who fail and men who succeed here. Men who dismiss her fears make her feel small, and she begins to protect her emotional currency. Men who listen, validate, and respond calmly make her feel safe, and safe women invest fully. She wants a man who can carry weight without dropping it, who can face reality without retreating. Every subtle cue matters. Your tone, eye contact, and patience communicate more than your words. If she senses judgment or irritation, she doesn't fight, she retracts. But if she senses understanding, something powerful happens. She starts envisioning a partnership built on respect, reliability, and emotional alignment. And here's the deeper truth. When a woman fears making the wrong sacrifices, she's thinking decades ahead, not next week, not next month, but years. That's why how you respond now can determine whether you're part of that vision or just a fleeting memory. The men who thrive are the ones who treat her fears as sacred data, not complaints. They mirror her vulnerability with steady confidence. They reassure without overpromising. They listen with empathy, not strategy. This is where psychology and attraction collide. Her fears are your roadmap. Navigate them well, and she sees you as the man capable of walking through life with her steady, trusted, and permanent. Ignore them, and the window closes quietly, with no dramatic exit. The way you handle these fears defines whether your connection remains surface level or transforms into something unshakable, something real. Think about what she's actually saying without words. I want to trust that if I reveal my entire self, you will stay. I want to see if you can hold my truth without flinching. This is the moment that separates temporary men from permanent ones. Most men fail because they prioritize ego over empathy. They react, they fix. But women who fear being misunderstood are scanning for emotional reliability, not problem solving. Respond with calm attentiveness. Mirror her emotions subtly. Let her know that she doesn't have to filter herself to be worthy of your love. That act, quiet, intentional, consistent, is more attractive than any flashy gesture. It signals that you can navigate her complexity without judgment, which is exactly the kind of man a woman invests in for the long haul. And here's the deeper truth. When she reveals this fear, she's imagining you as her anchor in storms. She's calculating whether you'll withstand her highs and lows, her doubts, her intensity. Misread her, dismiss her, or show impatience, and you lose more than trust. You lose the version of her ready to fully lean on you. But respond well, and she begins to align her life around your presence. She imagines a shared future, not just in the joyful moments, but in the unglamorous, raw, emotional spaces where love truly proves itself. That's the power hidden in her fears, and it's yours to handle carefully. When she admits she fears vulnerability, don't misunderstand. This is not weakness. This is courage in its rawest form. Women guard their hearts because exposure has consequences. She's been hurt, disappointed, or dismissed before. Her fear is a sign that she is starting to trust you enough to risk again. This is the most telling signal a man can ever receive. Vulnerability is not casual, it's selective. A woman only opens this door when she is evaluating if a man can sustain emotional depth without abandoning her. She's testing whether you can stay steady while holding her fragility, without exploiting it. Most men misread this as drama. They either pull away or try to fix the fear. That is the fastest way to break trust. The right response is almost invisible. Patience, presence, and validation. Let her fears exist without judgment. Speak calmly. Don't try to solve them immediately. By simply holding space for her, you show her that fear is not dangerous with you. That is the foundation for deep attraction, connection, and commitment. Here's the unspoken psychology. When she fears vulnerability, she is already projecting your future together. She imagines life with you as someone safe to express everything, doubts, anxieties, dreams, without risk of ridicule. If you meet that standard, she begins to invest fully. If you fail, she retreats quietly, often without explanation. Most men miss this entirely. They hear the fear but respond like they are in a debate, or worse, like it's a weakness to dismiss. Women do not need debate or dismissal. They need containment and steady emotional gravity. That is the hallmark of a man who can be trusted for life. Recognize the invitation. Respond with unwavering stability. That is the line between being another fleeting connection and becoming the man she pictures beside her through every fear, challenge, and dream. When she finally shares that she's afraid of giving her heart to the wrong man, you need to understand the weight of that moment. This is not casual fear. It's a culmination of every heartbreak, every disappointment, every time she felt unseen or unheard. She is standing on the edge of trust, and she is quietly testing if you are the man who can handle the responsibility of her love. Most men hear this and panic. They overcompensate, overpromise, or freeze. That's exactly what drives her back. The truth is, she doesn't want perfection. She wants presence. She wants reliability. She wants the kind of man who can hold his own emotional ground while embracing hers. She is revealing her deepest fears because she is imagining a future with someone who can match her depth. Someone who doesn't just love her when it's easy, but when life is messy, when emotions run high, when reality challenges dreams. Here's the subtlety most men miss. When a woman shares this fear, she's not just evaluating the present, she's simulating decades ahead. She is asking, silently, can I build a life with this man? Can he be my partner in all seasons? And your reaction, calm, attentive, grounded, communicates more than any words ever could. By honoring her fear, you become the safe space she's been searching for, the anchor she can rely on in turbulent times. When you respond with steadiness, empathy, and emotional maturity, something profound happens. She begins to align her life with yours, not because of manipulation or charm, but because you've proven, through action and presence, that love with you does not require her to shrink, hide, or compromise her essence. You've shown her that commitment isn't about pressure or performance. It's about safety, consistency, and trust. And here's the final truth. The fears she shares are the map to her heart. Ignore them, and she quietly detaches. Navigate them well, and she begins imagining a future that includes you in every detail, from mundane routines to life-altering decisions. Fear shared is vulnerability offered. Vulnerability received with care is love cemented. So remember, when she reveals what scares her most, don't rush to fix, don't argue, don't dismiss. Hold space, stay steady, and show her that with you, she can face her fears without losing herself. That is the moment she chooses you, not just for now, but for a lifetime.